Hello, welcome to White Birch Tarot and Astrology. This is a card reading for the full moon in Aquarius on July 29th, which occurs at 10:37 a.m. Eastern Time in the US. And I did the astrology for it last night, so you can watch that if you want to. And I'm going to start out with a quick quote from the astrologer Rob Brezhny, two of them actually, if I can find them. I like these. He said, "Longing is the intelligence of love before it finds language. And desire is the divine dreaming of the divine through us." I like that. Desire is the divine dreaming of the divine through us. Okay, I like that. So, this full moon is conjunct Pluto exactly, and no, not exactly, 2 degrees, and the sun is conjunct to Jupiter exactly. So I talked about that in the video, but I started out with 2 of the Kim Kranz Wild Unknown archetype cards, which is really interesting because they go together. And also, I got the wrong glasses on. Oh well. And will I be able to see? That's the question. $26 million question, or what do they call it? I got the medallion and the gem. So interesting. So I will talk about both of these, but I want to read from the book because they're really interesting. Obviously they go together because the gem is in the medallion. And the keywords, I'm going to put this on the screen because you would not believe how tiny this is in real life. Upholding tradition, protecting, and honoring. And the dark side is burdensome inheritance and habituation. And it says, the passing on of sacred objects is an ancient ritual within families, between lovers, and in tribes across the globe. We gift jewels, treasures, keepsakes, and mementos of all kinds, some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise. When the medallion card appears, be aware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile the vibration of the objects around you. What do you covet and collect? Why? Is there an object you have held onto for years that you are ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. That is really strange for 2 reasons. One is because, and I won't go on and on about the astrology because I've already talked about it, but this is a full moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius represents the collective. So in a sense, I feel like we're the jewel and the medallion is the collective in which we're held. And it's interesting, because then we get the gem. And it's also interesting because last night I've been going through things, getting ready to move, as I may have mentioned, and I was too tired to dig through boxes, and I decided to go through jewelry. And I literally spent hours last night going through things that my mom left me. It's, and like the book said, some of them are valuable, most of them not. After I looked under the microscope, not the microscope, what do you call the magnifying glass? I don't have a microscope. Anyway, but it's usually just sentimental value. But then you have to ask yourself, so why do I keep this sitting in a box? Anyway, it's just I got the willies when I drew both of these, and I thought, this is really weird. But I get it in terms of the Aquarius versus Leo energy, because in a sense, I feel like Leo is the gem. It's Leo rules the heart, and its stone is the ruby. Not that rubies are better than any other stones, but it's just interesting to me because this reminds me of Leo energy, and then the medallion reminds me of where the moon is in Aquarius. This reminds me of Aquarius energy, the collective in which we're held, the surroundings in which we shine, and which, as it said, kind of shapes us, what expectations come along with these these containers that hold us. And so the gem, and I'm assuming that is the truth of us, it is unique, shining, generative, irreplaceable. The dark side is envy, greed, and grasping. And you know, the full moon in Aquarius is nothing if not unique, because Aquarius rules the eccentric and the unique, which is interesting because it's kind of a paradox because it is the collective also. But so this says there are infinite names for the gem. It is also known as the jewel, the star, the talent, the gift, the gold. One thing for certain is that it is found deep within a substance that is very much unlike it. For example, a diamond in the rough. The gem always stands in contrast to its surroundings. You can't find it when you are among comforts and pleasantries. Precious stones develop slowly deep in the earth amid pressure and darkness. Ain't that the truth? Discovering the gem requires a descent beneath the surface, there's the full moon conjunct Pluto, where there is no definitive map. Yet the longing to touch the true gem within us is so strong that we cannot help but seek out its radiance. Your gem, like your destiny, is unlike any other in the entire world. Keep digging. Well, that is very on point for the moon conjunct Pluto, because Pluto rules the underworld and buried treasure. So maybe I should stop there. It kind of describes the whole thing. But so what can we expect from this full moon? What do we get? I did the cross of truth, and then I pulled a card for each of the elements: fire, earth, air, and water. So in the center for our overall energy, this is us. We are the Empress. This is us being pregnant with possibility, being very fertile, and there's something I was going to say we can literally give birth to. Okay, we're not all going to give birth. I mean, something on the material plane, it could be a child, but I mean something that we're creating, that it's time for us to nurture inside ourselves so that we can give birth to it. You know, it's time to start something new, and we've kind of already started it, whether we know it or not. But it's something that's going to be real on the physical plane. We're very fecund at this point, very fertile. And then I said, what do we need to leave behind? And I get the Seven of Cups. So it's time to stop wondering and having too many decisions in front of you, too many ideas, and yes, things can still be confusing, but it's time to stop building castles in the air and start thinking about what can I really achieve and what do I really want to achieve. Okay. And then I said, what are we moving toward? And we get the Nine of Cups. So we've moved from the 7 to the 9. There are lots of cups in this reading. Oh, down here I was thinking somebody else was holding one, Temperance. The Nine of Cups is where, okay, so in the Seven of Cups, we're thinking, okay, what could I do? So like, what's possible? What do I want? And the Nine of Cups is saying, you need to look around you and see what do you have to work with? Like, what do you already have that's right in front of you that you could enjoy, that you could, be grateful for, that's already here. So instead of the Seven of Cups and saying, I want that thing way over there. I want the thing I had before, or I want something completely new. And it's okay to want something new, but it's saying you may not have to go as far as you think to find something that makes you happy. It doesn't have to be forever, but there's something in your vicinity that you can celebrate with. At least that's what I get out of it. And then we get Temperance. What's our challenge? Our challenge is to be patient. And our challenge is also to combine two different elements. So we have silver and gold. And it's the two opposites. And of course, the full moon is the sun opposite the moon. And, the sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo is very different from the moon conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. They're very different. And it's a matter of balancing the energies and trying to find the middle path, the way that works, rather than one extreme or the other, and saying, I only want it if it's this way, and it has to be that way, or my way or the highway. No, this is somehow blending the two and making it work, even though they may seem like extremes. There's a middle way. And then I said, what's the blessing from this full moon? And I get the High Priestess. Well, this is full moon energy for sure. So our ability right now is to get in touch with, and when the moon's with Pluto, who rules the underworld, and here's Persephone going down into the underworld with her pomegranate, I'm getting a very big message that this is a very fertile time, a very, what's the word? Just a good, I can't think of the word I want. It's time. It's a good time to get in touch with something that's under the surface. As the other card talked about, the gem, you have to keep digging. It's time to dig something up that's within your own subconscious that you can work with, and it's something of value. It's very important. I think, don't be afraid of the shadows. What was I reading? It's in a book I was reading called Anam Cara. I'm still reading it, by John O'Donohue, and he's talking about, it's about Celtic wisdom, and he's talking about not being afraid of the shadow, because that's where the treasure lies, and that's what Plutonian energy is all about. Yes, it rules death, but it also rules transformation, and it rules buried treasure. And I think that there's something available to us during this full moon that comes out of the subconscious that can be very productive for us. It might look scary at first, you might have to dust it off, but ultimately it's going to gleam in the dark. Okay, and then I pulled, as I said, okay, 2 came out for the earth signs. Actually, 1 came out, and then this other one came out later, and I think it's for the earth signs, so I hope I'm not mistaken. But I'm sorry, fire signs, not earth signs. I started with fire because this is Leo season. Sorry, fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You get the King of Pentacles. Now, Saturn is in Aries, as is Neptune, so we get water and earth, so perhaps that's why 2 came out. This is time for you to be in control of your physical environment, to manifest something, to not let anyone tell you what to do or what to have. This is up to you, and it's time for you to be in your power in a physical sense, more than just desire, because fire is all about desire, but this is about making your desires physical. Okay, taking care of business on the physical end. And then I'm pretty sure this went with the fire signs. The Knight of Cups comes in also. So you get some water, you get an emotional offer. There's something or someone that comes up to you that's offering you some help, some assistance, maybe even some romance, but there's an emotional offering coming to you as you sit in your power, okay? That sounds very positive. And then we have the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, and you get the 6 of Wands. So you have achieved something. And I know it hasn't been easy. Let's see, Capricorn, I know this has been like a year, but honestly, when Pluto went through Capricorn, that was brutal. That was tough. And then Taurus had Uranus going through. So, and Virgo had the South Nodes. So all 8 the earth signs have been through something. You've achieved something, and you're finally getting some recognition. And if you're not getting like literal recognition from others, you're getting it from yourself. You're finally seeing places where you have been victorious in your life and saying, oh my God, look what I've done. Doesn't have to be a huge thing. And maybe no one but you notices, I don't know. But you have achieved a certain level of something, and you need to go ahead and be proud of yourself. Okay, and then the air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And of course, Aquarius has Pluto moving through. And that's where the full moon is tonight. The Three of Cups. Okay, well, you get to celebrate with friends. And you know what? I'm going to look at the Liz Green description. She says initial completion, but also a beginning, more to be done. So this is, I thought there was something more to this than just celebrating with friends. So this is also a celebration of having achieved an emotional milestone for you. Let's see, Uranus is in Gemini right now. And, let's see, is anybody in Libra? And of course, Pluto's in Aquarius, that's major. Yeah, so this is a celebration with friends, with others, of what you've achieved on an emotional level. And perhaps just some happy times coming in, just having some fun. That sounds good to me. These are so tall, they're hard to reach. Okay, and last but not least, we have the water signs. Might have just elude me. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. You get the Queen of Cups, which is you, of course. You are in your element with Mercury moving through Cancer. We've all been emotional, but probably the water signs even more so. Jupiter has been through Cancer. So you are not resting on your laurels exactly, but you are in your full-on Queen of Cups mode, full-on High Priestess mode, where you are just channeling. You are in your emotions, you are handling them. They've been very, very expansive and I'm not going to say heavy, but large, lots of emotion coming in, but you're doing okay. You're dealing with it. You're being yourself. And the star came out with this. So this is beautiful. This is Pandora and the box. That's hope. She let out all the ills of the world, but it's kind of sad that they put them as dragonflies. I love dragonflies. Anyway, but there's hope. So, in the midst of your emotions here, you have discovered not only some direction, but some hope. Your wanderings through your emotional channels here have put you in touch with some guidance. There's something to look forward to. You found something to hang on to and something to look up to. Hope, yay. Is that a spider? Oh my God, it is. Oh no. Oh dear. I don't like to see those because then they pop up in real life. I've been dealing with them again. And anyway, that's another story. Okay, so I hope that this makes sense. I think it's overall a really good reading and a very intuitive full moon, so make the most of it. And please leave me a comment. Let me know how the energy is treating you and if the reading resonated. And please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And happy full moon, everyone. Thank you for listening. Good night.